The Sangtams are a major Naga ethnic group living in the Longkim-Chare division of Tuensang District and Kifiri District, Nagaland. They practice jum cultivation, a traditional shifting agriculture method. What makes Sangtam Naga unique is their ability to keep traditional beliefs while also following Christianity. Their culture reflects this blend through their customs and festivals. The Sangtams celebrate 12 festivals yearly, mostly related to farming, prosperity, and blessings. Among them, Mungmung is the most important, celebrated in the first week of September as a time of gratitude before the harvest. Once upon a time, in the old Sangtam village of Hurung, the god Lijaba descended from the heavens. Disguised as an old man in torn and tattered clothing, he wandered through the village as dusk approached. Going from door to door, he called out, "Hoo-hey! Is anybody there?" "I am a weary traveler on a long journey. The sun is about to set. Will you grant me shelter for the night?" But the villagers, one after another, turned him away with excuses. Some claimed they had newborn babies. Others had newly hatched chicks, piglets in the sty, sick relatives, or were mourning a loss. Some simply stated they had no extra space. Each house rejected him, closing their doors to the weary traveler. As night fell, Lijaba, tired and disappointed, looked toward the edge of the village. There, he saw an old, broken house. Taking a deep breath, he called out again, "Hoo-hey! Is anyone there?" To his surprise, a voice responded immediately, "Yes, who is it?" Lijaba stepped forward and explained, "I am a traveler on a long journey. Night has fallen, and I seek shelter just for tonight." The owner of the house, a kind widow, stepped outside and said, "I live here with my daughter. My house is old and in poor condition. If it rains, the roof will leak, and we have no food to offer you. But if you can endure these hardships, you are welcome to stay." Grateful for the kindness, Lijaba accepted her offer and entered the house. Later that night, Lijaba, feeling hungry, requested food. The widow sighed and replied, "I have already told you, there is nothing to eat in this house." Smiling, Lijaba said, "That is all right. Just fill a pot with water and place it over the fire. Curious, the widow did as she was told. Lijaba then scratched and rubbed his body, producing a strange object which he dropped into the pot. As the water began to simmer to their astonishment, it transformed into a pot full of steaming rice. The widow and her daughter could not believe their eyes. Then Lijaba said, "Now place another pot over the fire." Again the widow hesitated and said, "But we have no food left, not even a seed of chili." Lijaba reassured her, "Just fill it with water." Once more she followed his instructions. Lijaba scratched and rubbed his body again, producing something round, which he dropped into the pot. As the water boiled, the aroma of freshly cooked meat filled the air. The widow and her daughter were speechless. That night the three of them enjoyed a hearty meal, filling their stomachs before going to sleep. At sunrise, as they sat together for breakfast, Lijaba asked the widow, "Do you have a field of your own to cultivate?" She sighed and replied, "I am a widow, so I have no land of my own. I cultivate a tiny patch at the edge of the village, where the soil is rocky and poor." Lijaba looked at the field from the house and said, "Yes, I see. But even though the land is small and barren, I will bless it. When the harvest season arrives, reap the grains every day until you have enough for the entire year. But when you are satisfied, snap the ropes of your grain basket, and the grains will stop growing." He then added, "At night, you will hear a strange po-po sound near your house. Do not be afraid. In the morning, find the spot where the sound came from and gather what you find there for your meal." Before leaving, Lijaba warned them, "This must remain a secret." That night, just as Lijaba had said, the widow and her daughter heard the mysterious po-po sound. In the morning, they searched around their house and found a large cluster of fresh, healthy mushrooms growing in the spot. Overjoyed, they cooked and ate them, finding them as delicious as meat and fish, which they could rarely afford. As the harvest season arrived, the widow and her daughter followed Lijaba's instructions. Every day, they reaped an abundance of grains, enough to last an entire year. Once they were satisfied, they snapped the ropes of their basket, and the grains ceased growing. Meanwhile, the rest of the villagers faced a harsh year. Their crops failed and hunger spread across the village. One day, an elder named Lingjang, a respected figure in the village, heard of the widow's miraculous harvest. Curious, he decided to visit her, bringing along a few men. He had 2 sons, the elder, Machojamba, and the younger, Patu. Lingjang asked the widow how she had managed such a bountiful harvest in her rocky field. She recounted the story of the old traveler, the miraculous food, and the blessing upon her land. Hearing this, Lingjang realized that the stranger had been none other than Lijaba himself. He declared, We have not seen the god Lijaba with our eyes, but we must honor him. He performed great miracles at the widow's house, and we must worship him. Lingjang then proclaimed, "From next year onwards, before the harvest begins, we shall set aside a sacred day called Mungmung. On this day, every household shall sanctify the 3 hearthstones and offer the best food upon them. By doing so, Lijaba will bless us with abundant harvests." The following year, as instructed, the villagers observed Mungmung 5 days before harvesting. That year they reaped a plentiful harvest. For many years, the tradition continued under Lingjang's leadership. But as he grew old and frail, the responsibility was passed on to others. Unfortunately, that year the harvest failed, and a terrible plague struck the village. Realizing their mistake, the villagers asked Lingjang to resume his role. Once he did, the village flourished again. As his final days approached, Lingjang called his sons, Machojamba and Patu, and told them, "After my death, our names must never be given to anyone in future generations. If anyone bears these names, they will not have good health or long lives." Even after Lingjang's passing, the announcement and observance of Mungmung continued, honoring god Lijaba. Even today, the Sangtam people celebrate Mungmung festival in the first week of September, just before the harvest. Though many traditional customs have changed with the advent of Christianity, the festival remains a vital part of their culture. Also, to this day, no Sangtam child is named Machojamba or Patu. The Sangtams once believed that the mushrooms blessed by Lijaba were meant only for women, and it was taboo for men to eat them. However, with time, this belief faded, and now they are enjoyed by all. This is how the Mongmong festival originated, a tradition born from Lijaba's blessing and the kindness of a widow who welcomed a weary traveler when no one else would.